Okay, I just wanted to welcome everybody out to this webinar. We're going to be talking a little bit about high-tech computer access. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so again, when we're talking about high-tech computer access, there's a few different things that go into that. You've got all kinds of devices now that, even 15, 20 years ago you didn't have. You've got your smartphones that can tell you all kinds of different information on the spot immediately without, having to wait for it. You've got all kinds of accessibility features built into all kinds of different devices that we use every day. So there's actually a really large umbrella that would be covered by high-tech computer access. Today, I wanted to specifically talk about the accessibility features that are built into Microsoft Windows 10. So we're going to go through some of those. We're going to talk a little bit about them. I've got different slides. And what you're going to notice on a lot of these different categories is that there's some overlap. So again, to introduce myself, my name is Jesse Hansen. I work here with FAAST. I'm employed at the Family Cafe. The Family Cafe is an organization that helps people with disabilities get resources. We do a big conference every year. That conference is going to be held in June this year. This year it's going to be a little bit different. Last year we did a completely virtual event, and this year we're doing a hybrid event with virtual attendees and in-person attendees. And we will have our premier presentations will be done virtually as well as in person. So we're going to have someone recording those sessions, and they're going to be broadcasting them live. And then the other presentations will also be recorded, and they will be put up on our website after the event is over for people to view remotely. So the partnership that the Family Cafe has with FAAST is that we host the Northwest Regional Demonstration Center here at the Family Cafe. And for those of you that aren't familiar with regional demonstration centers, a regional demonstration center basically covers a certain number of counties within their region. I happen to cover the Northwest region, which is a good portion of the Panhandle through halfway between here and Jacksonville. And there's centers all over the state. I just happen to also be located very close to the FAAST headquarters because FAAST headquarters is also here in Tallahassee. So we're actually in the same complex, which is kind of nice because if I needed something, I can actually go and grab it from FAAST headquarters rather than waiting for it to be shipped to me like some of the other centers have to do. So I consider myself fortunate in that respect, and I know some of the other centers might be jealous, but they don't give me preferential treatment. I tell you that they treat everybody the same, and they love everybody, so they take care of all the centers equally. Okay, so when we're talking about high-tech computer access, again, this presentation is specifically going to be referencing Microsoft Windows 10 accessibility features. So there's a few categories that we're going to cover. And again, there's going to be some overlap in the accessibility features here because some of them can work for different categories, but the main categories are going to be vision, hearing, learning, and mobility. Okay, so as it relates to vision, there's going to be multiple slides on vision and hearing and whatnot. This isn't the only slide, but this is just I'm going to talk a little bit about it and go through some of the different features. So we've got adjusting the size and color. When we look at this, to adjust the size and text of apps, you're going to go to settings, ease of access, and display. So this right here, this whole settings, ease of access, that's going to be your gateway to the accessibility features in Windows. So we're actually going to be using that a lot. Sorry, I'm not doing the best job of highlighting this, but I just wanted to show it to you, just so that you can see it and you know where you're going to go. So settings, ease of access, and display. That's going to be your gateway to getting to all those accessibility features. So in this, not always under display, but always under ease of access. So you can use the slider under the text where it says make text bigger, and you can adjust the text size very quickly just by sliding that back and forth. You can also select to make everything bigger by selecting the drop-down menu, and you can change the size of everything on your screen. You can also change the size of apps in your start menu by doing a right click or a tap and a hold if you're on a touch screen. You click on the app tile you want to resize, and then you can select resize and make it smaller or larger depending on your needs. So some of the other features, and again, this is where that slider would be right here. So you can see that it can slide back and forth. You can change the text size. You would just hit apply after you're done. You can also choose to make everything bigger from the drop-down menu right here. And then there's other features we're going to go through in some of the different slides. Another thing would be the contrast. Again, that's under ease of access. And then under the vision, it's going to be under high contrast. You can change high contrast. If you choose a theme, you can choose high contrast black, for example. There's a number of themes that are kind of pre-programmed in there. And then you can go ahead and customize those themes to your personal needs. So if you need to have black on white, white on black, yellow on blue, whatever features you need, you can change all of that up. Clear off these. Okay, so the other things that you can do would be to change the cursor and pointer size. You can make it more visible. You can, again, over here, change the size by simply sliding it over, making it smaller, larger, or bigger, making it different colors. Put a pinwheel up there if someone needs to be able to visually see that it's thinking or whatever the computer is doing. And again, the way you get to that would be settings, ease of access, cursor. So again, the gateway is ease of access. It's always going to be ease of access whenever we're doing this. And you would just choose the options that work best for you. Okay, another feature that's built into Windows 10 would be the magnifier. It enlarges part or all of the screen. So you could actually enlarge the entire screen if you needed to. You can enlarge just a small portion of it, just depending on how you size the magnifier. In this menu here, you can zoom in essentially and zoom out to your preference. If you want to go 200, 300, 500%, whatever you need, you can do it that way. There's a few different ways to open it up. Again, one of the quickest ways is to press the Windows logo key and then the plus sign. And when it's open, you would use the Windows logo key and the plus sign or the minus sign to zoom in and zoom out. And then, of course, to get out of it, you would just press escape. You also have in relation to that, and this goes back to the various color settings, you can set color filters. And again, this is kind of just a quick demonstration of how the color filters work, but it can invert colors, it can change colors. Basically, if there's a certain color that someone has a hard time seeing, they can select to always change that to a different color that they have an easier time seeing. And again, that's going to be under ease of access, color filters, and then you just choose the option that works for you. And again, you can do the Windows logo key plus Control plus C if you want to do that quickly with a shortcut. One of the other settings that a lot of people like to change would be the notification timer. The default is 5 seconds. And even for someone that doesn't have an impairment, that can be a little bit of a short time period to actually read whatever notification Windows is giving you. And sometimes those notifications are not really important, but sometimes it can be, you know, something about maybe your virus protection or something like that. And that 5 seconds isn't always enough to read it. So this can be a useful feature for anybody. what you do is you go to the notification settings under ease of access and display again, and then you just click the drop down and you can change it from 5 seconds all the way up to, I think, 5 minutes or something like that. You can also change the background image. You can turn that on and off. That can help people with visual impairments as well. Okay, so another really great feature would be the Narrator. That's a built-in screen reader for Windows. You also have Cortana that can control your computer by simply speaking commands. So Narrator and Cortana are, they kind of mirror each other. They're not the exact same program, but they use a lot of the same underlying software to work. So again, it reads whatever's on your screen whenever you have Narrator enabled. So to start or stop Narrator, you press the Windows logo key, the Control, and the Enter key. You can also set up some options in Narrator. You can come into the system and you can turn it on or off. You can select whether or not you want it to start after a sign-in so that it automatically starts. You can do it for everybody, just for one user. You can show Narrator on the home screen whenever it starts, so that whenever it starts, you can see the Narrator home screen, so that it's automatically there for someone. They don't have to open up the menu.
Yeah, you camping out again? I love it.
Well, okay. Okay, you can also use Narrator with a Braille display. So Narrator works with Braille displays that use a USB or serial port. To use the Braille display with Narrator, you do need to download and install the Braille reader onto the system that you're putting it on. So the way that you do that would be you press the Windows logo key, the Control+N to open the Narrator settings. Under Use Braille, you would select Download and Install Braille. Once that's complete, you would then add your Braille display, and you would select, generally it's going to be a USB or it could be like a wireless Bluetooth device, but usually with a Windows computer you're going to still be plugging in a USB dongle if it is a wireless Bluetooth device. So generally the one that you're going to select will be USB. If it's an older product, then it may have a serial port, which is still compatible, but again, most of them are going to be USB. And then once that's installed, it should work and should be compatible with your Braille reader. You can also display audio alerts visually and change the audio to mono audio. So again, you'd go to Settings, Ease of Access, Audio. Under that, you would select the Show Audio Alerts Visually. You can choose to have different things like the title bar on the active window, have the screen flash whenever the notifications come in. That way you don't have to rely on sound. Mono audio is useful for someone that maybe can hear better in one ear or only has hearing in one ear. That way if they put on headphones, it's not just going to the left or the right side, it's going to come in both ears at the same volume and have the same audio on both ears. And again, let's go back there. So this is where you change things like the device volume. You can also do that at the bottom of the screen pretty easily. And again, this is where you would turn on and off the mono audio. Okay, so another feature that Windows offers would be the closed captions. Of course, I have that turned on right now for the PowerPoint presentation. They don't always work perfectly. It can get words wrong, but it is better than not having anything, especially you know, when you consider that it's a pretty nice feature to have if someone does need closed captioning, and obviously you can't just get closed captioning readily available all the time. So it is a nice feature to have for presentations like this. It's also nice that you can turn it on and it can detect what it's hearing on the screen itself. So again, under ease of access, you go to closed captions, and then you choose how you want those captions to be displayed. You can change the size, the effects, the style, the color, the background, all kinds of things. Up here is an example of what it looks like on the screen with these settings. And again, that will change as you change these colors. So if you want to change the color, then it shows you what it looks like. So you can kind of choose what you're doing, and then you don't have to like test it and then come back. You can see what it looks like on the screen as you're changing it. Okay, another feature would be minimizing distractions. You can reduce animation, turn off background images, you can clean up the taskbar clutter, you can simplify the start menu, and you can also quiet the notifications. So again, you're going to go into settings. On this one, it's a little different on this one because you're going to go into personalization, you're going to go into taskbar, and then under notifications, you would choose that. Choose that area and you select what icons appear on the taskbar. Focus Assist lets you set rules that help you avoid distractions. So that would, you would select the start menu, type Focus Assist, and then under the settings in the search box, you choose if you want to get all notifications, priority ones only, or only alarms. Personally, I do turn off most of the notifications because I do find that it gets a little bit annoying when you're working on stuff to constantly have notifications coming in, especially depending on what web browser you use, because I know Chrome will send a lot of notifications. Firefox will send some. Edge, if you use that, will also send notifications. So it's just one of those things that I prefer to not get unnecessary notifications. So I tend to turn them down to the lowest number of notifications as opposed to the allow all notification setting. And that can be beneficial to other people as well. If it's distracting and it takes away from their ability to perform their task, that might be a feature that benefits them. Okay, so then you also have Immersive Reader options. You have like it's called Read Aloud. That allows you to hear the text being read aloud, just like it says, so pretty straightforward. It begins automatically reading at the word that you selected. This particular feature is built into Microsoft Edge. I do know that other web browsers have that as well, like Chrome and Firefox have that feature. Because we're talking about Windows 10 and Windows 10 comes with Microsoft Edge, I did want to feature that just so that someone understands that they don't have to install a different web browser to get this feature. Okay, so for a clean and simple layout, the reading view in the Microsoft Edge browser also is a nice feature. Whenever you open up like a document in Microsoft Edge, there's going to be a reading view icon that appears in the corner right by the navigation bar. You just click on that and it's going to filter out all the other images and everything else and just give you just the text so that you can focus on just reading and you don't have any other distractions. This can help people with visual impairments. It could also help with cognitive issues. There's a number of reasons you would want to use that, but it is a very useful feature to have. Okay, then you also have things like hands-free control. This image here features a Tobii Dynavox device, the eye gaze. It is compatible with Windows, which is nice because it's got built-in compatibility, so you don't have to install a bunch of extra software. You can just kind of run and go with it. So that's one of those devices that you would attach to your laptop or to your computer. And it does cost a little bit extra. So if someone has the budget for it, then it's a great device. If someone doesn't have the budget, there's also other options. Here I'm talking about the on-screen keyboard that would allow you to type with your mouse, or if you are using a visual device like the Tobii Dynavox to see the screen, then you can select what you want to do with your eyes. So when you think about click with eyes or head tracking or eye tracking technology, there's a few things that come to mind immediately. You've got the Tobii eye gaze. Smile mouse is another very popular one. That camera mouse, I like that one because that one doesn't require any extra items other than having a webcam. If you have a laptop, then you already usually will have a webcam built into that. If you don't, then it's very easy to go pick up a webcam from Best Buy or to order one off of Amazon. And they're relatively cheap compared to some of these other eye gaze devices. So I really like Camera Mouse. It might not be the best one because it is a free program that's made freely available to everybody. And they just kind of develop it in-house, but it is free. And so that's one of those things that someone can kind of, if they don't have the budget, put up with some of the limitations that it might have because it doesn't cost them anything to use it. It can also get them used to using that kind of a system. And then if they decide that they want to upgrade to something later on, then they of course always still have the option, but they haven't spent any money out of pocket. And then of course there's other head mouse devices that will track maybe a point on someone's hat or on their forehead or something that you can put on them that will track that as well. Okay, so another accessibility feature that is heavily used in Windows would be voice recognition. The place that you would go would be the Windows key plus H to start dictation. That will select the microphone. You do have to set up your microphone first in order for it to work. Again, most laptops will have a microphone built in. If you don't, it's pretty easy. Like if you have a desktop that doesn't have a microphone, it's pretty easy to set one up. You can get a USB microphone. Those work very well. And again, those are usually, I would recommend a USB microphone because those are going to have the best audio quality as well. So you can use an analog microphone that plugs directly into the computer, and they will usually work okay. But I do recommend USB because it's going to have better features and it's going to have better sound quality. So the first thing you would need to do is, of course, set up a microphone. And to do that, you would select the Start button, Settings, Time and Language, and then Speech, which is weird that they would group time with language. But I guess if you're in a certain region, then you might have a certain language that you speak. So that's why they do that. But then under that setting is where you're going to find Speech. And then you would click under the microphone and you'd click the Get Started button. Once you do that, then you can go ahead and move on to training the microphone. If you don't have a microphone set up, then you're not going to be able to do that, obviously. So that's why I put these 2 steps first, so that if someone is looking for that option and then they're not seeing it under ease of access, they know that they need to go do these 2 steps first. But once you have that set up, then you can go over to ease of access, speech recognition, and train your computer to understand you better. That's an option similar to maybe what Drag and Dictate does, where it learns your voice, picks up maybe different accents that you might have or intonations in your voice that are unique to you, and it will learn what it is that you're trying to say, and then it will have a better detection rate, and it will do a better job of detecting your text and your voice. And you can press the Windows logo key plus Control plus S to toggle the speech recognition on and off. Okay, you can also dictate within programs like Word and PowerPoint. Your Microsoft Office suite will have a dictate option as well. That is separate from the voice dictate that's built into Windows. So it does function separately, although it functions on the same premise and uses the same software. It is in fact separate. And that little menu option looks like this in Microsoft Word or PowerPoint or any of your Office programs. That's what it's going to look like, and it's called Dictate. And you just click on that and you click where you want to start typing, and it will start populating the text into that text box or wherever you're typing. You can also do text suggestions. So it would have like a predictive text similar to what you have on your cell phone most of the time. And the way you would turn that on would be to go to Start, Settings, Devices, Typing, Hardware Keyboard, and then Show Text Suggestions as I type. Okay, so I've got my contact information here. Of course, like I said, I'm located at the Family Cafe in Tallahassee, Florida. My phone number here is 850-224-4670. I also went ahead and included the FAAST statewide headquarters in case you're not in my area and you need to get a hold of a different center. The two numbers there are 850-487-3278, and of course the 1-800 number, which is 1-844-353-2278. And I guess I'll open it up for questions. Does anybody have any questions that they wanted to ask? No questions? I'm not hearing anybody. I don't know. Everyone seems to be muted, so I don't know if anyone needs to unmute themselves. Okay, well, if there's no questions, then I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for joining us. I hope that you learned something, and I hope that this presentation provided some useful information to you. It will be recorded, so if you want to view it again, you can do so through FAAST website. And let's see. Sorry, I saw a comment that my mic was muted. Is it still muted? Or can
you hear me, Jesse?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it said that you had my mic muted. It wouldn't let me unmute it. Thank you. This is Regina.
Okay.
I'm with St. Petersburg College down here in Clearwater, Florida. You said something a few minutes ago about when you're going to the dictate, yeah, and you were saying it wasn't, it had nothing to do with the other program, and I missed something there, and I can't recall what you.
I was saying that the dictate that is built into Microsoft Office is separate from the dictate that's built into Windows. So you don't have to purchase Microsoft Office in order to use dictate with Windows.
Oh, okay.
Some people might be confused about that because, you know, obviously Office is an extra purchase, and I didn't want people to think that if you didn't have Office, you couldn't use dictate.
Okay, okay, perfect. That, and thank you. Yes, that was my question. I appreciate that. Thank you. Very nice.
And thank you. And that is one reason I picked Microsoft Windows is because I know that a lot of people in the workforce use Windows. A lot of people in school use Windows. Obviously, I realize that there's a number of different parts. You know, you have a lot of accessibility features built into like iOS.
Right.
And part of having those accessibility features built in is, you know, what program is going to be used by the most people. And I feel like Microsoft Windows ends up being used by a slightly higher percentage just when you consider work and school and all those different things that people end up using Windows for. So that is why I picked Windows to talk about today.
Sure.
Of course, you could go on and on about all the different accessibility features and all the different programs, but and this is obviously not even exhaustive of what is in Microsoft Windows. I just wanted to kind of give a good overview of what's available and what features are there.
Sure. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Okay, do we have any other questions? Okay, well, if not, then again, I hope that you guys learned something, and I hope that this is beneficial to you, and look forward to seeing you guys next time too.